everyone, Paula Parker here. Today, I'm just trying to get this right here, sorry. We're going to do a practice that helps us to, oh goodness, that helps us to allow the goodness and light that we all have within us to come to the surface so we can see the divine within ourselves, and then essentially turn that capability out to others, to see the good in others. So you can begin down on your back this morning here. Get yourself comfortable, and I will start with the reading today. It is a poem that I found online, and it's written by Lehigh Girl. She didn't put her real name. Inspired by Sarah Dessen's book, Just Listen. For a second, take a look in a stranger's life. Peek inside, think a thought. Maybe you'll see strife. Judgments made from simple glance are often wrong, we see. Maybe we should step once back and look at what's called me. Walk a day in other shoes, look at up and down. You may find that you can see a greater look around. Excuse me. Appreciate the little things, see the good in all. Realize that life is good, knowing, standing tall. If you can appreciate the good in everyone, you must know there was a change, and everyone has won. There is a change when you have learned to look against the light, seeing more than meets the eye, looking past the blight. Judge ye not, lest ye be judged, is what the scriptures say. It is true that others see much more than we each may. Looking back at ourselves, we find we don't see much. When we look through others' eyes, we see what we can't touch. When we look to shadows cast, we see the truth of us. Making it seem rational, we try to make no fuss. Yet honesty is ruling in, and we must choose a way. Choose to look for brighter dawn, or face ourselves today. I'm just going to join you now down here on your backs. Let us begin with our knees bent and our feet on the floor. And as we start to move, we're going to inhale. We're working on lengthening that spine here. Reach the fingers toward the floor overhead. And on the exhale, turn your palms up to the sky as if you were flexing into the heels of your hands here and the wrists, and point, really reaching long to the floor overhead, and exhaling, coming back down to the sides of the body. Pointing and flexing, if you will, with those hands in order to open up the wrists, start to stretch into those forearms. Open into the shoulders and the chest, and again elongating into the spine. Good. As your arms come down this time, let's pause here, please. And when you're ready, slide out long. Let's take our left leg out long to begin. And we're going to continue with that flow of the arms while we point into those left toes and lift to the sky. And then flex into that heel and exhale the arms down. And point, stretch to the sky, exhale, release. Let's keep this flow going a few more times on the left, with that left leg, I should say. Good. This time, let the back of the hands rest to the floor overhead while you keep that left foot lifted to the sky. We're going to rotate the ankle here. Pausing so you can change your direction. And then coming to stillness. Good. Keep a nice flex into your heel. Take a breath in. On the exhale, we're going to lower that leg and also bring the arms back down to the sides of the body. Okay, from here, bend into that left knee, place the foot to the mat. Go ahead and slide out long with your right leg. Sorry, my device is sliding off of the chair. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. So back into your position, we're sliding out long with that right leg. We're going to point the toes, inhale, lift to the sky. Good, flex into the heel, both at the hands and the foot, and release back down. And just give yourself a nice flow, if you will. Now the area of the body that we hold this goodness, this light within ourselves, is at the solar plexus in the heart. So the solar plexus is just here below, right where those ribs come together. So our nice stretch here for the body to elongate through and activate. Let's keep that right leg lifted to the sky this time. Our hands are resting to the floor overhead. And we're going to bring some rotation to that right ankle. Good. Pausing here and changing the direction. Go around the other way. Nice. Come back to stillness. Take a breath here. On the exhale, we have that nice flex into the right heel. We're going to lower the arms down and that right leg going back down to the floor. Nice. Okay, slide out long when you're ready and just notice here that little bit of movement, how your body can feel. And now let's take a bend back into those knees, placing our feet to the floor. And we're going to activate from the pelvic bones up to the rib cage here with some pelvic tilts. Okay, so taking your breath in right where you are. And then on the exhalation, you're going to flatten the small of the back to the mat. Inhale. Press that tailbone into the mat. Give yourself some space for bringing the breath in. And exhale. Good. Inhale, press tailbone down. Exhale, flatten the back. And we'll give ourselves just a couple more here. Nice. Next time you're inhaling, just release your pelvis into a neutral place in that spine. And slide your arms open to the left and the right at shoulder height. Palms turning down to the floor. We're going to move that pelvic area and the hips from side to side when you're ready. So start gently rocking through those knees. The next time that you have your knees back at the center, let's pause here. If your feet moved apart, just walk them back together. Place the soles of the feet together and allow those knees to open apart from each other. Now let's turn those palms up to the sky and just give ourselves some nice full breaths, drawing breath in, letting the abdomen and the diaphragm expand, moving through the middle of the abdomen and all the way up to the top of that chest. Okay, in theory, we have our arms moved away from the body, and the legs away from the trunk of the body, so we should be able to take some nice full breaths here. So let's take a moment for that. Moving the breath up and down. Good. Now let's give ourselves one more breath. As we exhale, release through the mouth. Good. We're going to draw those knees back to the center. And just realign the spine so that you're comfortable for the lower body, through that lower back. And now take a bend in your elbows. You're going to look as though you could be a cactus or a goalpost that has fallen over to the ground. And notice how that brings a nice deep opening across the chest. Make sure you're taking some big breaths all the way up. Feeling the belly, moving through the middle of the abdomen, drawing to the top of the lungs, and releasing all the way down. Good. Give yourself a breath in. And this time on the exhalation, I'm going to have you draw the elbows and the palms together above the chest. You're really pressing here. We're going to be squeezing out germs and toxins and any irritants from the lungs here. So inhale, open back to your cactus or goalpost arms. Exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze. Okay, this time as we open toward the floor with those arms, let's pause. And now fill yourself with one really big breath here. Send out through the mouth. Good. You're going to release those arms down to your sides and draw the knees into the chest. Go ahead and take a nice little rocking from side to side here. Nice. And the next time that you roll to your side, let's roll on over and press ourselves up. Okay. So we're going to align ourselves into table pose. Bringing your hands under the shoulders and your knees under the hips. From here, let's begin with some nice cat-cow to warm that body some more. So as you inhale, press your tailbone back, let your belly drop. Lift and draw that breath to the chest, to the chin. And then start at the tailbone, curl it under. Bring yourself into cat pose. Inhale and exhale. For those who are familiar with Ujjayi breathing, that ocean breath, I love to practice Ujjayi breath when I'm in my cat-cow flow. It really makes me slow down and focus on what I'm doing. Trying to bring balance to the front, the back, the top, the bottom of the body. Give yourself one more inhale and exhale with your movement. And we'll return to our table position. Okay, so I'm going to invite you now to curl your toes under. Go ahead and sit back on your heels if you're able, and come off of those wrists for a moment so we can just give the wrists a little rotation. Opening them up fully for good energy exchange. And go around a few times the other way too. And then shake out those hands. And we'll come back onto all fours. Let's try keeping those toes curled under. This is going to be a little bit of an experiment here. Lots of times we will do an alternate arm leg lift as a flow, but today we're going to do tiger flow. And tiger flow is different because it asks us to lift the right leg and the left arm at the same time. So you're having to shift your weight from side to side before you try to activate and lift the arm and the leg, okay? And I'm thinking that toes curled under might give us a little bit more stability here. So let's shift our weight into our left side. And when you're ready, inhale the right leg and the right arm. Exhale, release. Shift your weight. Go to the left side and release. Good, so we're going to do a little flow here. Take your time. So if you're not feeling like you are anchored before you try to lift the leg and the arm, you're going to feel pretty wobbly. So all of the elements are the same as far as we're going to keep the heel flexed in the foot. And when you reach with the hand, you're turning your thumb up toward the sky to open and activate the shoulder. Good. Okay, once you get yourself right and left once again, go ahead, flatten the tops of the feet now. Press yourself back into child's pose for a moment. Good. Let's take one more breath while we're in child. And as you inhale, come on back up onto all fours. And then bring yourself tall on your knees here. Okay, so I have a little bit of space in between my knees, maybe a little bit wider than I might if I were in table pose. And I'm just going to tuck down with my tailbone and squeeze through the hips and the buttocks here, okay? Good. Shoulders are rolled back and down. We're going to open the sides of the body here. So one of the standing poses that we're going to do is a victory goddess pose. And so we really need to be nice and open through all parts of the body and mostly through the legs for this one, okay? So we want to anchor ourselves here and just move from the torso. So notice how my lower body is stationary, okay? I'm going to just reach my fingertips down toward the floor and I'm going to activate. So really spread those fingers wide. Shoulders are back. Take your breath at center. On your exhalation, lean to one side. Really reach with those fingers. I'm going to look down toward that floor on that side, just so that my neck stays safe here. Come back to the center on the inhale and go to the other side. Good. Nice and anchored through the lower body. Taking some side stretches here. Move once again to the right. And once again to the left. Good. Coming back to the center. Let's bring our hands to the heart for a moment. And if you feel the need to bring your knees a little closer together for comfort, please go ahead and do that for yourself. And now we're going to, before we come up into our standing poses, which are meant to create some strength in our body, very often when we have challenges or difficulty with someone and we may be struggling with trying to find the good in a person, we need to, really have some good strength. We need to open up our minds, okay? And just allow ourselves to get to know the person. So this is called Goddess Mudra. And I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see what it looks like with the hands. So our thumbs and our pointers and our middle fingers are all going to touch, okay? And then just curl in with your ring fingers and your pinky fingers. So this is what it looks like, kind of like a little bit of a teepee. And then place your hands at your heart center. Good, so inviting wisdom and compassion and strength and truthfulness to come to you as you are working with people who challenge you. Maybe close your eyes for a moment and just allow the image of somebody who you maybe have a challenging relationship with. And invite in these traits, compassion and understanding, strength and truth. But as you're ready, slowly open your eyes and you can release the mudra from your hands. Hands are going to come back down onto the mat. And from here, we're going to curl under with our toes, lift the knees, and bring the heels toward the floor. I'm going to fix the camera in just a moment. Okay, walk those hands closer together, your heels come down. Let's inhale while both knees are bent. And on the exhale, see if we can straighten one knee. Inhale, knees bent, Exhale, try to straighten the other leg. Good, and that's going to be your movement here for a moment while I figure out if I need to move. No, I guess I can. I guess I'm good. Okay, so let's do these alternate knee bends, straightening the leg on the exhalation. And this time, as we try to straighten, let's work on straightening both legs. And just see where you are here. And breathe. And let's give ourselves one more breath here. In through your nose. Send the breath out through your mouth. And as you inhale now, let's slowly slide ourselves into a flat back forward fold. You can rest your hands just above your knees at the thigh there. Good. Take a little bend into those knees. Let your head drop so your chin can tuck toward the chest. And then we'll slowly and gradually bring ourselves all the way up to standing. Take a nice big breath in, lifting those arms, and we'll bring the hands down to the heart. Check out your alignment for mountain stance here. And pause. Okay. If you happen to have a block handy, you can grab that. It's not totally necessary, but I find that it is helpful for us when we want to work on doing a chair flow. So I like blocking between the knees, or maybe you have a small pillow that you have on your couch or on a chair that you could grab real quick. This is going to help us with our alignment when we do chair flow, okay? So working on our strength, working on, bringing good energy down into ourselves, okay? And to share that good energy out with others as we extend those arms. If you're not able to have a block or a pillow, what I want you to make sure you do is when you come into your chair pose, that your knees are extending from your pelvic bones as opposed to coming in. That puts a lot of pressure on your lower back, and I want you to stay safe, okay? So beginning in mountain. And when you're ready to inhale, let's lift those arms. You might look up to the sky if you choose. On the exhale, we're going to sink back. See if you can bring your weight into your heels. And maybe you begin in a gentle chair, okay? And then as you feel perhaps a little more strong, you can go maybe a little deeper, okay? So be in the level of your pose that you would like to be in today. So we are building strength. We're doing so in a slow and gentle way here. Try to activate all your muscles. So isometric movement is going to help tone more efficiently. Good. As you come into your chair position this time, let's pause here. Again, see if you can shift the weight into your heels. And make sure that your tailbone's not pressing way out, but rather a little tucked down. That's going to help activate and engage your hips and keep your lower back safe. Traditional chair shows us extending with those arms. You'll usually see me with my hands at the heart as I have some neck stuff that this just feels more comfortable for my body, but feel free to extend those arms out in front if you choose. Okay, and as you're ready, let's inhale. Good. Big swan dive now. We're going to release the legs. Go ahead into a forward bend. You're welcome to take those blocks out if you were using one. And just let the tension release from your lower body. And as you're ready to inhale, once again, slide up to a flat back, forward bend, please. And from here, we can reverse our swan dive. Bring hands down to the heart as you complete your release of forward bend. Okay, so continuing along our way to prepare the lower body for goddess, we're going to step our feet wide here. Okay, so if you're standing the long way on your mat, probably about as wide as your mat is, if you want to do that, or you're going to determine what feels best for you. Go ahead and just rest your hands on your hips if you'd like. Take a breath. On the exhale, let's bring our hips over to the right and then press them back. Inhale as you move your hips to the left and forward. Good. So nice standing pelvic rotations. Good. Next time your hips are pressed back, let's pause. You're on your exhale, so now we're going to inhale over to the right and forward. Exhale around to the left and back. Changing your direction. Good. These standing pelvic rotations are so great for anytime you've been standing for a long time, or anytime that you just need to release the hips and the back. Also, if you're sitting for a while, very helpful to get the energy moving back again into your body. Okay, so next time that we're about to press the hips back, let's pause at the center instead and just come into a nice tall spine. Okay, so let us see now. We are going to do a little bit more to warm the legs before we come into our goddess pose. So continue, please, keeping your feet turned out, okay? And once again, if you want, you can rest those hands on the hips. We're going to take a breath. As we exhale, we're just going to drop the tailbone, so bend those knees. Sometimes having the legs wider on this one is better, okay? Drop the tailbone. We're not leaning forward. We're not pressing the buttocks out at all. Come up tall. Just going to turn so you can see the spine from the side. Dropping the tailbone. Coming back up. Good. Drop the tailbone. Come on back up. Drop the tailbone. Come into straight legs one more time. Good. Okay, go ahead and just kind of shake those legs out a little bit. All right, so the next piece of our coming into Goddess is to bring those arms to shoulder height at the left and the right. Bend into the elbows. Okay, so now we also want to activate with our upper body. So just squeeze all your muscles. Press the shoulders back, squeeze the upper back. Okay, really spread your fingers wide. Now for Victory Goddess, we're going to turn our palms forward. So notice how I'm spreading my fingers wide. That helps to engage all the muscles up into my shoulders. Let's drop the tailbone down, and we're holding our Victory Goddess pose and breathing. All of the strength, the inner strength, all of the goodness and the light that we all have within us is getting activated. We're cultivating that within ourselves. And now with this Victory Goddess, we're telling the universe that we want to send that out to others. Instead of having it just turned in toward ourselves, which is our traditional goddess pose, we're doing Victory Goddess to send that energy out to others. Okay, so let us now stretch those legs straight, turn your toes forward, bring your arms out and up, and on your exhale, nice big swan dive to wide-legged forward bend. Go ahead and pay attention to your alignment of your feet here. We want to definitely have the toes forward so our hips remain forward. Anytime you're folding into a forward position, you want to make sure those hips are turned forward and not turned out, okay? So let's bring our hands to the floor in front of us, even if that means we have to take a little bend into the knees. And we're going to flow side to side here. So we're inhaling at center, and as we exhale, we're going to bend into one knee. We feel the stretch on the opposite inner leg. Come back to the center. Exhale, bend the other knee. Good. We're just moving side to side here. We're going slowly so that we can feel all the parts of the stretches with this one. We're being safe with the knees. So let's just take the stretch one more time to each side, please. And come on back to the center. Give yourself a big bend into those knees. You're supporting yourself with your hands. And that allows you to heel toe those feet closer together. I usually like to have us roll up when the feet are closer. Good. Once you're all the way up, go ahead and take hands to the heart once again. So in our practice today, cultivating that divine within ourselves so we can acknowledge and see that within others, we have to ask ourselves, how many times do we judge a book by its cover? You know, we automatically think a certain way. And I think that is human nature, but I think that we all probably can try to do better with that. I know I can, you know, to be less judgmental. And this practice, some of the movement today is helping us to get into that energy. All right, We're going to release the arms and walk ourselves to the back of our mat. And we're getting ready to transition down to the floor, okay? So when you're ready, give yourself a nice big sweep up with those arms. And we're going to take a swan dive all the way into forward bend. Let's just pause here and take a nice big breath. Good. Big bend into those knees, hands come down, and we walk ourselves to table. And then let's have a seat. Okay. So very often when we are doing seated forward fold, many people are tight in the hips as well as in the back of the legs, so that when we're trying to elongate forward, we don't always stretch the spine the way that we may want to. So there's this little neat trick. So what I'm going to show you is having you bring your knees in as closely as you can, and hopefully seeing if you can get your belly and your chest toward the top of the legs. And then you're going to reach down for the outside edges of your feet. So right hand to the outside edge of your right foot, left hand to the outside edge of the left foot. Maybe just rest your thumbs on the top of the feet. Okay, so we're going to walk the feet only as far forward as we notice when the belly and the chest start to disconnect from the legs. Maybe you got to pause along the way and take a breath. Okay, so my chest and my belly haven't separated there. And if they start to, that's where I'm going to invite you to stop and hold your seated forward bend. Okay? All right, so if I were to go any further, then I would be separating here. So I've gone for length. Notice I have a bend under those knees. That's okay. I'm going to just be here. I'm going to let the head hang forward and take a few breaths. Okay, as I'm ready now, let's all take a big cleansing breath. Release the hands. Go ahead and start to bring yourself back up into tall spine. Tap out the legs here. And then have a nice flex into your left heel. Bring your right knee into a bent position. We're going to wrap with our left arm and draw in so that we're feeling the stretch on this right outer hip. And then the right fingers are coming behind, nice and close into the body. Roll the shoulder open, you're in your twist. Once you get settled here, take 3 big cleansing breaths. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, please. Good. Untwist yourself. Slide that right leg out long. Tap, tap, tap. Maybe just wiggle and release those legs for a minute. And I'm going to turn this other direction here so that you can see me still turning toward the camera, okay? So keep your right leg out long, flex into that heel, bring your left knee up, wrap with your right arm, and draw it in so you feel the stretch down this left outer hip, left fingers behind and close in toward the body. Good, roll open with your shoulder. Once you're settled in your position, your alignment here, let's take 3 big cleansing breaths. Good. As you're ready now, gently releasing your twist. Slide out long, tap your legs. Okay. We are getting ready to bring ourselves to our back so that we can quiet the body for a few minutes, come into stillness. Good. So feet are down, knees are bent. Let's rock our knees to one side while we turn our head to the opposite direction. And then come back to the center. And exhale over to the other side. And just move side to side here. Good, just realigning and calming both ends of the spine. Come on back to the center, if you will, and draw the knees into the chest. Place your hands behind the back of those knees, and let's just lift here for a moment. Maybe point and flex into those heels. When we bring muscle contraction and we have the legs lifted, what we're doing is we're pumping the lymphatic fluid through the body. And then as that does that, it'll come down and get a nice cleanse at the lymph nodes in the groin area. Okay, come into nice, gently flexed heel, and then lift those arms to the sky. Let's do the same thing. Turn the palms up, and then turn the fingers down toward the floor. So pointing and flexing through the wrists. So we're boosting our immune system here. There's so much pollen out. When we certainly want to keep ourselves in our strongest immune system with the coronavirus, and keep us from being bothered by the allergies too. So all that pollen out there. Okay, we're boosting our heart here as well, our cardiovascular system. All right, so let's bring those hands back around to the back of the legs, and we'll bend each knee, have the heels come down. Good, release one foot, and we can release the other. All right, please give yourself a nice little body scan and see if there's any other movement that you may want for yourselves here. When you're ready to release into your resting pose, go ahead and take a nice, comfortable position, whatever it may be. Here, we're just going to rest for a few moments so that we can allow our body to absorb all the benefits of our practice today. So let us now acknowledge to ourselves, please. I see the divine within myself and others. As you are ready to, let's slowly begin to release our resting pose by first taking some gentle movement to the fingers and the toes. And then moving more deeply into the wrists and the ankles. Good. Drawing the knees to a bent position when you're ready. Start to rock yourself from side to side. And as you rock those knees, you're sending a vibration along your spine to your brain, saying time to release our resting pose for now. Take all the time you need, but as you rock your knees to the right this time, go ahead and roll to your side. Pausing here on your side to deepen your awareness, to bring your alertness up even more so. And at the time that feels right for you, come on back into your seated position. And once you're there, we'll hold our hands to the heart. Good. Thank you for watching and practicing with me today. I hope that through this time of self-care, you've been able to see the goodness that you have within yourself. And as we foster those feelings and acknowledgements, we are also then able to turn that out to others, which is the intention of our practice. So understanding that we all have good and light within us. Let us acknowledge this goodness and light within one another. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you have any comments, feel free to leave a comment or any questions, any feedback, and I'll get back to you on anything that you might have questions on. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.